Hi all. Permit me to read something to you this morning before I make my points. Yeah? Okay? Come closer. Thank you. In Nazi Germany, about 5 million Jews were slaughtered in various ways, ranging from gas chamber to firing squads, etc. Okay? Decades later, Germany made a formal and very significant apology to the Jews. According to Wikipedia, over 4 million Africans died inside Africa after capture, and many more died after capture, and many more died on the way to the various countries they were going, etc., in Europe or Americas, etc. And many more still died young, all as a direct result of the slave trade. In 2001, Britain and a number of small allies were accused of jeopardizing the UN's anti-racism conference by blocking the European Union from issuing a straightforward apology for the transatlantic slave trade. Belgium and 10 other countries were prepared to offer outright apology for slave trading. But Britain, the Netherlands, Spain, and Portugal were only prepared to express regret. I repeat, regret about the slave trade without any specific recognition or responsibility. Now, isn't that ironic? I noticed there's some new books coming of Izi and Larry later this year, and two of the books are devoted to the history of the slave trade, the slave trade in West Africa particularly, right? And one thing I realized, the biggest the biggest offenders of this particular matter were actually, in fact, Britain, Netherlands, Spain, and Portugal. So isn't it ironic that they're the ones least willing? They were the ones least willing to give an outright apology. This report, by the way, is from 2001. It's based on the Guardian UK. Okay. Now, why the big no? Why did they say no? Right. Well, very simple. It had legal implications, and they were afraid of being forced to pay huge reparations. Okay. Now, let me go back. I don't want to. I love Britain. To be honest with you, I think it's a great country. But I do find myself wondering what on earth I was doing in 2001 and why I wasn't aware of this. Maybe I was too ignorant and too happy living in the UK. Now I'm still happy living in the UK, but I am also incensed by these findings, and I find, I guess, the more Izi and Larry books I write, the more conscious I am of our history, and the more conscious of the history of Africa, and the more conscious I am of the importance and the damage that slave trading caused us in Africa. Okay. Now, what are my points? Okay. Basically, guys, we need to be Africans, blacks. We need to be united as one. If we're all united as one, then these atrocities are very difficult to implement or to instigate, right? If we're all united in one voice, right, then it's very difficult for people to say, oh, we'll just express regret over certain matters. Okay. Sorry guys, but do terrorists express regret over what they did, or what? I mean, am I making sense here? Because what the slave trade did really is nothing short of barbarism, and outright scourge on a whole race. Okay. Now, so number one, we need to be united as one to get our points across, guys. Number two, we need to teach our children about our history and culture, no matter how painful. I know that it's been painful for me writing Izi and Larry books, especially the upcoming ones, where there's a particular one on Ghana, right, and the slave trade in Ghana, and how they use the especially the Gold Coast for the Europeans landed on, as their port to bring slaves out of Africa, because West Africa suffered greatly in that particular matter, in that particular area. So I know it's been very painful for me, but I find that the more I study it, the more I write about it, the more strangely proud I become as an African. The more proud I am as an African, the more I think it's important to educate not just you and I, but also educate our children about our history, about our culture, about our heritage, about what happened in the past. Now, we also need to help our children to be proud of our culture and heritage. And trust me, guys, learning things like this will definitely help them. Okay. Now, also, finally, we also need to get this issue back on the agenda, guys. We need an apology. There should be an apology. I think it's a disgrace that none of us, well, not enough of us, especially me, got going on this matter. I don't know what I was doing in 2001, but obviously I was half asleep. Now, so let's start in one voice to try and get an apology out of these nations, because it's necessary. It's necessary because they did us wrong, people. And it's necessary because we all want peace. We all want the world to be a global village. We all want to get along with, in love, in kindness, or whatever. But the question is, do these things actually exist, or are we just talking nonsense? Okay. So, if anyone's interested, let's start this. Okay. #apologize. Maybe we could get some momentum on it. Okay. Over and out. Take care. Bye.